Hello, this is Bill Webb, aka Billy Indiana. Today I'm going to do a Kickstarter preview for Turf War by Dan Nichols and published by Gadabout Games. Let's get this to the table and check it out. So when I received this game, Turf War, it came in a little envelope with this box of cards and some Easter grass and these little plastic flamingos. So cute little flamingos and Easter grass, interesting touch on just the creativity that Dan is showing in this. And I don't think these flamingos really have anything to do with the game. We've played it, and it seems like they're not really included in the game, but you could use them to decorate, and they're cute. So kudos to Dan for just being creative in the packaging even of this game. So let's see what's in the box for Turf War. All right, Turf War, everything you need to play is in this box, and you see that there's just a big, thick pile of these square cards, and then a little folder, a little fold-out rule booklet. That is what comes in the box. It's a pretty simple game to understand, and each player is going to be given a same set of cards. So they're going to have a pile of dirt, and on the other side of these dirt cards are grass that you'll be decorating. So you're going to want to turn the dirt into grass. So they're going to have 9 dirt cards, and then they're also going to have 3 tools. They're going to start with a rake and a watering can and a toolbox. They're also going to have a garage to store their tools. They're going to have a card that shows whether they're home or away, and what you do each turn depends on whether you're in your home or away status. They're also going to have a Piggy Bank card here, and actually a combination of 2 cards. So you can have a 0, and then over here you can see 1. Let's actually flip this over. So you can cover this up, so this would just be your scoring. So you can see it's 0 and 1, 2, 3, 4, or you can rotate this and 10 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, 20 plus 4 plus 5. So you can move that around to keep track of your score. And so each player is going to have that along with a setup card and your turn card, little player review card. So each player is going to have that same stack of cards to use. And so we would pass those out. And then you're also going to have a trash card that goes by this stack of Turf War cards. And then you're also going to have a stack of these, which are the neighbors. Let's slide this over. These are the neighbor cards. Now the neighbor cards, all of the neighbors, you're trying to actually sway them so that they can appreciate your yard, and you're going to do that in a variety of ways. So some of them you're going to have to try to bribe. Some of them you're going to have a certain number of things in your yard, maybe a certain type of ornament or a certain number of ornaments. Some of them you're going to have a certain pattern of cards in your yard. So every neighbor that you're trying to sway has a different thing that they're looking for, a different way that you could convince them that you have the best yard in the neighborhood. And so if you can convince them and earn points for each one, each neighbor that you would sway is worth 5 points. And the way you set up the game is you're going to have 5 of them. So we would just lay out 5 neighbors. And we are going to be competing to sway those neighbors. All right, so that's a very brief, kind of high-level overview of what our goal is. We're going to be setting up our yard. We're going to be using the tools and putting things in our yard in such a way that we can sway the opinion of these neighbors to vote our yard as being the best turf in the neighborhood. And at the end of the game, once you have all these 5 neighbors have been swayed, you count up how many points you've earned based on who you were able to sway to your side and what kinds of things you were able to place in your yard. So let me set this up for actual gameplay and demonstrate a little bit about how it works. But here is one player's setup, and you would have it's a 2-player game, so you'd have the other person with their same setup of a 3x3 grid of dirt. You're both going to be looking at the same selection of cards out here for different resources you could obtain. Each one has a symbol in the corner that tells you what type of card, and it has a coin in the other corner to tell you how much you would have to spend to buy it. And then down at the bottom, it tells you what you would do with that card. And then we've got our neighbors we're trying to sway. We've got our home card, our garage, our piggy bank, reference card. And then these cards, the watering can, toolbox, and rake, are going to be in our hand. And at the beginning of the turn, you're going to decide, do you want to play home or away? And so if you play home, you leave this card face up, and you're going to play a card from your hand and or sway a neighbor. Now to sway these neighbors, here we'd have to pay Maximilian 20 coins. Well, I have 0 coins, so I can't bribe him yet. For Sylvia, we're going to have 3 nice plants planted in our yard to impress her and sway her opinion. I don't have any, so I'm not even close to being able to sway my neighbors yet. So that second action is going to take a while to build up to, but I could play a card from my hand. Now the rake card says trash a card from your yard or from the store. So if there's something out here in the store that I don't really want to be there, I could play this to trash it. I could also play my toolbox, play up to 2 cards from your hand. So if I use this, then I could actually play the other 2. And the other one is the watering can. Turn a dirt to grass. So what I'll do is I will do the toolbox. I will play up to 2 cards from my hand. So when you play it, you put it back in the garage. All right, so I put that back in the garage now, but now I can play these 2 cards from my hand. I'm going to play the rake, trash a card from the yard or from the store. Now, I don't have anything I want to trash here in my yard, so I'm going to actually just trash the mole from the store, and you just put it over here on the trash pile and refresh. So anytime a card goes away, you're going to refresh it. And then my second play is going to be the watering can, turn dirt to grass. So I actually used all 3 of my cards in the first turn based on the order that I use them. And I'm just going to go ahead and turn this dirt over to grass. Now on the bottom you can see there's a little plus sign. That means I can put 1 card on top of this. But if I put a card on top of this that also has a plus sign, like these tulips, I could put another card on top of that. You can also see a little number 1. That's how many victory points this one is worth at the end of the game. So I have my first victory point. And I have grass to grow some things on or to plant some things in. So that would be my turn. I chose to go home. And then it would be the other player's turn. And so that is how you play the game if you're choosing the home actions. Let's say it's back to my turn again, and I choose to use an away action, which would be important now because I don't have any cards to play, and I still don't have enough built up to sway any of my neighbors. So the home actions aren't going to be valuable. So for the away actions, it says I can work to gain $5. So I'm going to work to gain $5. So in my piggy bank now, I've got $5 here that I can spend. We'll just move this player card over here. All right, and then I can also buy a card from the store. So I have $5 now, so I could choose, is there something out here that I want to buy? Well, I would like to get these plants because I could eventually maybe impress Sylvia enough that I would sway her to my side in the voting for best yard in the neighborhood, and the tulips cost 2 points. So I am going to spend 2 to buy these tulips and put them in my garage, and then replace that card. And that would be the end of my turn. I did the away action, I worked to gain some money, and I used some of that money to buy some things and put it in my garage. At that point, it would be the next player's turn, and they would choose home or away actions. And then it would be back to me. So on my next turn, let's say that I choose, I could stay and I could make more money and buy some things, but I actually think I will go back to my home actions. And when you go from away to home, you can then draw your cards out of your garage, and now you've got a set of cards to play again. So I am home, I'm going to play a card from my hand, and I'm going to play the toolbox, which again lets me play 2 cards from my hand. So I'm going to play the toolbox, which lets me play 2 other cards. I'm not going to play the rake this time, but I am going to play the watering can for one of those and make some more grass in my yard. And I'm going to plant these tulips. So I'm going to plant these tulips right here, which now I have another victory point, and now I can plant something else or put something else on top of this as well. All right, that would be the end of my turn. I played 2 cards, and after playing the card that allowed me to do that, and my turn is over for my home action. And so that is basically the way you're going to play the game. You're going to be constantly getting cards from the store by going away to do some work and make some money and buying those cards, putting them in your garage, and then going back home, getting them out of your garage, doing the work, planting the plants, putting the flamingos and the garden gnomes in your yard, and trying to eventually impress these neighbors to convince them that you have the best yard in the neighborhood. And once you do, once all neighbors have been swayed, you count up the points. So right now I have 3 points in my yard, one apiece for the 2 grasses and 1 for the tulips. If I could get these flamingos in, I would get 1 point for every card in the row where I put the flamingo. If I get these stacking stones in my yard, I would get 1 point for every card in the column where those stacking stones are. So you can see how you would start to maximize the points and manipulate where you put things in your yard to earn the most victory points by the end of the game once all 5 neighbors are swayed. So that is how you play Turf War, an interesting game that's simple to learn and easy to play, 2-player game from Dan Nichols and Gadabout Games. Check them out on Kickstarter. It'll be starting August 3rd.